Verma ji, Additional Secretary, Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. Over to you, sir, for your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected chair and co-chairpersons, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries off dais. I'll briefly take you through the anchor presentation for thematic session 1 is strengthening water governance. As you can see, water governance is the means to achieve our goal of a water secure nation. And this water governance, it is now acceptable to be based on integrated water resources management, to be enabled by innovation, data, and technology. As we discussed in the morning session, if you look at water security at the outset, in 2050, our annual utilizable water is going to be 1126 BCM. That's a projection. And our demand is going to exceed, which is 1180 BCM. And that's where the governance and our strategies come into place. How do we increase our annual utilizable water and decrease our demand for water in 25? There are many ways in which we can make interventions to improve our water security. But water security is more comprehensive than only looking at demand and supply. I'll not go into the detailed definition, which has been laid down by UN Water. Suffice to say that it measures indicators across the water sectors, and I'll go a little deeper into these details. So rural household water security is one aspect and one dimension of water security, which looks at water, sanitation, hygiene, health, and climate. Urban water security, little more complex, looks at water supply system, sanitation, affordability, drainage, and environment. The third aspect is economic water security, looks at enabling the broader economy, agriculture, food security, energy security, industry. The fourth pillar is environment water security, which looks at catchment aquatic system health and environmental governance. And the fifth pillar is water disaster security, drought, flood, storm. So when we discuss about water security, we have to necessarily ensure a comprehensive view of water security, and which broadly falls into these 5 dimensions. In terms of integrated water resources management, there are some key principles which we have to keep in mind. And the first one is water is interconnected. It cannot be managed in silos. We are all aware of it. However, in practice, we are still far short of it. So whether it's rainfall, whether it's surface water, groundwater, treated water, all water has to be viewed as one resource and managed accordingly. The second principle is water has competing uses, and you cannot have a single objective planning, whether it is in-stream use of water or off-stream use of water, domestic, irrigation, industry, energy, recreation, and ecosystem. And when you look at allocating water for these purposes, there are certain principles that have to be adhered to. One is social equity, like basic right to life. That is the water, it gets priority. Ecological sustainability, the environmental needs, and the economic efficiency. The third aspect is that water has to be managed at all levels, whether it's panchayat or local municipality, district, state, basin, at the national level. And how do we discharge these functions in a harmonious way? There is a principle of subsidiarity. A water function should be discharged at the lowest level where it is possible to discharge. Obviously, there is an issue of capacity, but that is one basic principle of integrated water resources management. If there is an overlap of function at 2 different levels, then we have to necessarily harmonize. And some functions may have to be centralized, which may relate to technology, investment, or disaster aspect of water management. So the definition of IWRM looks at all these basic principles. I'll not go into details and probably depict through this figure. So the integrated water resources management is cross-sectoral integration. Whatever water is used for different activities, we need to make sure that we have a cross-sectoral integrated view. And in the center, there are three core criteria: equity, efficiency, and sustainability. So whenever you are deciding water management, you need to apply these three criteria. A little deeper again, this is the current reflection of how we are carrying out our water management. There are different water uses. Each of these activities has a management institution. They are serving a particular objective: social, economic, and environmental. Then there is an institutional and policy framework, and overall this governance leads to water security. Now, if we bring integrated water resources management, the first layer is when we are looking at policies. So our policies have to be informed of integrated water resources management. The second layer is the managing institutions. Those institutions which are operating, they have to also follow integrated water resources management. And the third layer is where the water is getting allocated for different sectoral needs. Again, that has to be viewed from integrated water resources management principles, equity, efficiency, and sustainability. So in this background, we have a new way forward for integrated water resources management. We are all aware that adoption of IWRM has been very slow because complete sectoral and basin level integration is probably not practical. So the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals agenda also propose that IWRM has to be implemented at all levels. And in accordance with that, the central government has adopted a pragmatic, we call it light IWRM view in place of an idealized, normative, and full IWRM. And in that light, we have circulated a draft model state IWRM bill to the states, which provides a framework for integrated water resources management at all levels: state, district, city, block, and village level. And this draft bill addresses various sources and various uses of water. I'll not go into detail, but I'll just give an overall structure of what is proposed. So we have this central vertical, which is essentially taking care of integrated water resources management. At the top sits State Water Council under Chief Minister, which will be responsible for all policy level decisions. Then there is a State Integrated Water Management Authority, a professional regulatory body, supported by a participatory organizational structure up to the grassroots level. This central vertical will have interface with all our existing departments and agencies which manage water. On the other hand, all the non-government stakeholders, research and development, and civil society organization. So this is the broad structure which has been proposed, and we have sought feedback, suggestions, and consultation from the states. Getting on to the next level, when we decide to implement integrated water resources management, we have one of the key prerequisites is availability of water data. And without water data, it will be very difficult to implement any sustainable water management, much less an integrated water resources management. And our challenges in data are you cannot find water data when you need it. Even if you know data is available somewhere, we cannot access it. The data is not interoperable, it's available in bits and pieces, and it's not standardized. So these are the key challenges we have in water data. We have circulated a strategy around water data to the states. The mission of the strategy is to make data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And it proposes a 5-pronged strategy. One is water data governance. All agencies which are involved in water data have to collectively sit together and work on making sure that this data is available to the planners. Water data collection and publishing also requires standardized protocols, standard operating procedure. Water data visualization, even if you have raw water data, it's not good. It has to be presented in a way that people are able to make use of it. The entire water community. Water data for decision support system, this is the crucial. All water management agencies need to build applications on water data, and water data for research and innovation. We need a lot of partnerships which support us with new models, new innovations, and that's where water data for research and innovation comes into picture. Just one of the constructs in our data policy, we are proposing federated water data hubs, because no matter what you do, water data will reside as multiple places, right from municipality to the state level to the central level, and we need not duplicate that data. So this SOP and standardization of federated water data hubs will ensure that data is not duplicated. At the same time, this data is available to everyone. Moving beyond data is accelerating innovation. In case we have to do water management in a sustainable way, in integrated water resources management, innovation is a prerequisite and key. And when I say innovation, it's not only technological innovation, it includes policy and governance innovation, it includes social innovation, it includes process innovation. And the business as usual approach will not be sufficient to address the water challenges. Some of the barriers to innovation in water sector are, historically it's been a conservative and risk-averse sector. Public sector dominated, so again there is a limitation on innovation. Competition and markets, which usually drive innovation, are missing in water sector. Slow speed from ideation to exploitation, and absence of a national framework for testing, validation, and demonstration facilities. So again, we've put together some ideas around it. We have circulated to all states. We are seeking their feedback and suggestions. And we have to live with that public sector is going to dominate water sector. So how do you enable and leverage public sector for innovation? How do we strike partnerships with water industry to make sure that we are benefited from innovations? How do we strengthen innovation ecosystem is another key requirement. We're also proposing an India Water Innovation Network to connect everyone who is involved in innovation, whether funding of innovation or in terms of ideas for the sector, and managing these stakeholders together for greater innovation in the sector. And so I'll just finish my presentation with set of use cases. Like I said, there are very little practical implementation of integrated water resources in the country, elsewhere also. But there are a lot of use cases which are available if we don't go for the ideal IWRM. And one of the ways is, like, IWRM can start with village water budgeting. You get from different sources how much water is available, what is the water requirement in the village. It's already done in some of our schemes, Atal Bhujal Yojana. So this is one simple application of IWRM. It can start at the local scale, and we can keep adding up to the higher levels of water management. Looking at thematic application of IWRM, so flood management. We do a lot of structural and non-structural interventions, but they are all isolated, separate. Can we put together for priority stretches all our non-structural and structural solution and adopt a consolidated floodplain management? Similarly, in the irrigation, now IWRM advocates equity, efficiency, and unless you have a robust irrigation performance assessment, it's very difficult. Today, fortunately, we have tools which allow us to have this kind of assessment without much of manual data collection. So we have circulated ET-based tool and the findings. There is a session subsequently tomorrow on this. So this again is a use of integrated water resource management principle. In the irrigation, command development, that's another area. We have so far been doing canal irrigation, groundwater irrigation, and also been looking at reuse of treated wastewater. Now is the time to combine all sources. When you're looking at developing a command, it should be agnostic to the source of water, whether it's groundwater, whether it's surface water, whether it is treated wastewater. So that's another application. We are working on a modernization of command area development scheme, and we would be picking up pilot projects. These are some of the use cases which I'll request the states to really take the lead, and this will give us feedback, this will give us data and evidence to further scale up and take IWRM at much higher level. So with this, I'll end my presentation. Thank you very much.